Good morning, guys. Welcome to Network Ethics. So today is the demo fine on firewall demo day two. Okay. So yesterday we had a conversation on all this fine on firewall combo products, whatever the things we are going to cover under this combo we just discussed, right? So today we are going to do lab with a Palo Alto firewall since this batch is going to start with a Palo Alto first. Okay. So regarding the rest of the firewall product demo, I'll share the link which we have already contacted the demo as a recorded video, which is available in our YouTube channel. Okay, so you can go through that, and I'll share the course curriculum document as well for your reference, guys. Okay, so let's get into the demo day 2 with the Palo Alto firewall. So today we are going to discuss if you are getting a fresh Palo Alto firewall, right? If you're getting a fresh Palo Alto firewall, how to access the console very first time, what are all the default console access is that, so that we are going to see. Yeah, Deepak, yeah, let me share the link. Okay, I'll share the link as well. So let's go with this. Okay, so fine. So if you're getting a fresh Palo Alto firewall, right? So how to handle that fresh Palo Alto firewall before deploying that Palo Alto firewall into the live production network, and how to access the console. So very first time through CLI and GUI, what are all the default configuration we are having it in a Palo Alto, fresh Palo Alto firewall, and how to enable some of the management services and how to disable some of the management services through CLI and GUI. Both we are going to see, guys. Okay, so today I'm going to give you the overview of your Palo Alto CLI console and GUI console, and what are the modes, how to access the Palo Alto CLI and GUI console, everything we are going to see today. Okay, so the fresh Palo Alto firewall, let me show you the Palo Alto. Right, we are using a emulator tool. So in case if you are getting a fresh Palo Alto firewall, how it will look like. So this is a, let me show you his. So this is your Palo Alto firewall basic model. Okay, device PA220 Palo Alto 220, guys. Okay, if you're getting a fresh Palo Alto firewall, it's a hardware firewall. Let's assume it's a hardware firewall, right? So this hardware firewall will have a dedicated management port. Okay, Ethernet management port, which is by default enable. This is the port you have to connect. You can connect your management port with your management PC, and you can make sure the reachability of the devices. Then you can access the console from this management PC management interface itself. Okay, and it's not like a Cisco devices, they'll have only for console port. They'll not support the GUI console, right? Normal Cisco router and switches. But Palo Alto will support the console type GUI and CLI. GUI console can be accessible through web services, HTTP or HTTPS. But since it's a security product, it is recommendable and it is mandatory to access through HTTPS services. Okay. And if you want to access the CLI console, it will support Telnet SSH console. And recommendable to use SSH service because it's a secure end-to-end encrypted protocol, and HTTPS as well, end-to-end encrypted protocol. So better to use SSH console, guys. Okay, and by default, in either your Palo Alto hardware firewall or either Palo Alto VM firewall, by default, this management interface, we have a dedicated management interface, right? So this management interface, let me show you with this a clear image. Okay, so you have to connect with your management PC, and you should provide the reachability between your Palo Alto firewall management interface to your management PC. Okay, so from there you can access the console, either CLI or either GUI. And because this management interface by default enable with administrative services or management access on this interface, by default enabled services are HTTPS, SSH, and then our network services. to check the reachability, your ping is enabled. Okay, these three services are by default enabled, whether it is a hardware model or whether it is a VM model, guys. Okay, so what you can do, you can just directly connect your Ethernet cable with your from management PC to your Palo Alto management interface, and you should provide the IP address on this interface. Okay, in case it's a dedicated hardware model, right? So this hardware model, this management interface, by default configured with the IP address 192.168.1.1/24 network. So you can assign the same network to your management PC while accessing your console very first time, right? So and then you can access the console either GUI console through HTTPS, either CLI console through SSH, right? And to check the reachability, you can use the ping services to check the reachability between your management interface of a Palo Alto firewall to your management PC, guys. Okay. So after getting a reachability, you can start to access the console either CLI or GUI, because this is default. By default, you no need to enable it on this interface. By default, these services are enabled by box itself. So by default settings, it's a default settings. Okay, and you can access the console by calling this IP address 192.168.1.1. Okay, very first time when you're configuring. Okay, and when you're access very first time, it will ask you to provide the credential. Okay, the default credential username is admin, password also admin, guys. Username is admin, password also admin. Okay, clear. So now what you have to do, you have to provide the connectivity between your management PC to your management interface of Palo Alto firewall, and you should assign the IP address from this network, right, to your management PC, and then you can start to access the console through either HTTPS or either SSH. So whatever the console mode you want, Telnet or SSH, sorry, GUI or CLI. So in that case, you can use any of this console mode, guys. Okay, and rest of these are all the, see, you can see these are all the interfaces called the data interfaces. We have totally, in this model we have totally 8 ports. You can connect this 8 ports with your infrastructure, LAN zone, WAN zone, DMZ zone, any based on your infrastructure you can connect, or your LAN segment, or in your infrastructure segments into your Palo Alto data interfaces. And Palo Alto have separate architecture. Okay, I mean dedicatedly processing unit, dedicatedly man. So this ports. Okay, we'll discuss what is the architecture in upcoming session, so that time you can able to understand. Now, I just want to give you some. I mean, I just want to mention this. So the data interfaces separately maintained by the separate hardware unit, and this is called a data plane. So it has dedicated processor, it has separate dedicated processor, it has separate dedicated RAM, it has separate storage. So this is called data plane unit. And whatever the management port, right? So management port, which is dedicatedly, it is also separately maintained. Okay, and it is also uh, separately managed. Okay, it has similarly, it has separate hardware unit, separate processing, I mean storage, separate processing unit, separate RAM. Okay, so when you're accessing the management console, and that management will be I mean, you are accessing the control plane. Okay, there you can divide in a two plane or two unit. First unit is called a data plane unit, and second unit is called control plane unit. So control plane unit, it's about the your management activities, whatever you are doing, accessing the console, taking a backup, configuring your firewall, right? So the creating the rule, everything comes under the management activities. So that will be taken care by the control plane unit, and whatever your infrastructure passing the data, right? So the data flow is there. You from your LAN to WAN, you are trying to communicate something, so that data pass through your any of these interface based on your connectivity. Okay, so that your data plane, what it will do, whatever the configuration you are done in your management activities like firewall configuration, policy, object creation, and the NAT rule implementation, everything, right? Based on that rule, it will it will inspect your data flow, live traffic. Let's say this is my LAN system A want to connect the internet, and that system is connected with the port number 2. Okay, and WAN interface is connected with the port number 1. So now whatever the traffic is he is initiating, that will pass through your port 2, and it will exit via port 1, and it will reach the internet. So that time your Palo Alto firewall will check your rules, security rules, to all, whether we are going to allow or whether we are going to deny. Okay, so that action is taken by your data plane unit. Okay, so your firewall will be taken that action, and so this flow, whatever the user initiated traffic passing, right? So that flow is called a data flow, or whatever the user initiated traffic, that is called a data traffic, and that data traffic is managed by the data plane unit. And whatever the firewall administrator or management purpose you are initiating the traffic, like accessing the console through CLI or GUI, configuring the policies, or enabling some services on your Palo Alto firewall, or taking a backup, or upgrading your operating system, patch update, whatever the management activities you are doing, that is passing through your management interface. Okay, so that is that is controlled by I mean, that is taken care by your control plane unit, or you can say management plane as well. Okay, guys. So deeper about the architecture. So as of now, you will not able to understand how it is working. So I'll show you in a architecture model. Okay, so we have a dedicated unit for the platform and architecture. That time I'll show you with a dedicated processor unit for the data plane, and dedicated processor unit for the management plane, so that how they are interconnected, how they are communicating, everything I'll explain you so that you can easily understand, guys. So now we all know. So what is the default console, default configuration when you're having a fresh Palo Alto firewall hardware model? That is having a dedicated IP address on your management interface, and that is 192.168.1.1/24 network, and that interface enabled with the administrative service or management access for the services, ping, HTTPS, Telnet, sorry, SSH. These three services only by default enable it, right? So now what you have to do, you have to connect your Palo Alto firewall with your management PC. Okay, so similarly, we are going to do the same thing, but here we are going to work with a uh, virtual firewall. So the same thing, your Palo Alto firewall, if you're using a virtual VM, virtual machine Palo Alto firewall, the same management interface not having any IP address. It is by default, it is configured as a DHCP client. Okay, by default, it is configured as a DHCP client, guys. Okay, so so now what we are going to do, we are going to assign the IP address statically, and we are going to access the console through CLI and GUI. Okay, both we are going to see. So how, if you're getting a fresh Palo Alto firewall, what are the things we need to do it, that we are going to do as a lab now, guys. Okay, let me go to your lab. So you can just take this part. So this is the topology. This is the one of the topology we are going to use for our Palo Alto training. Okay. So this is your LAN segment, and this is my data center server segment. This is my internet, and this is my site 2 network, site 2, and this is my headquarters. So we are going to establish the site to site VPN in this topology, as well as this is your remote user, SSL VPN user. Okay, so this topology we are going to use for the layer 3 deployment in your Palo Alto firewall. So your Palo Alto firewall data interfaces you can deploy in a 5 different mode. So one of the deployment type is layer 3. Okay, so or you can say routed mode. So this topology we are going to use for 50% of your course will belongs to this topology only, so that you can easily understand. Okay, so Fine. First, our concern now we are getting a fresh Palo Alto. This is a fresh Palo Alto firewall. We need to access it we need to configure, we need to implement the rule, we need to enable that interfaces Ethernet 1/1 as a LAN interface, and Ethernet 1/2 as a DMZ data interface, and Ethernet 1/3 as a WAN interface, right? And so after that, you need to implement some rule and all. So before deploying that, first we need to access your console to configure all those stuffs, right? So how to access the console? So this is a fresh Palo Alto firewall. This Palo Alto firewall have a dedicated management interface. Let me show you here. Just type. See, if you look at that, I have a dedicated management port on my Palo Alto. Okay, Ethernet 1/1 is connected with my LAN network. Ethernet 1/2 is connected with my DMZ network. Ethernet 1/3 is connected with my ISP WAN network. Okay, and management network is management interface is connected with my management network. Okay, so dedicated management port is there. You need to ask you need to connect this dedicated management port with your management network. So this is my management network, which is having a IP address 10.0/24 network. Okay. So that is my management network. So I have to connect. It's a fresh Palo Alto firewall, right? So it's a fresh Palo Alto firewall. It's a VM firewall. It's not a dedicated hardware firewall. So if it is a hardware firewall, I can just directly connect my management PC with your Palo Alto firewall, and I can access the console. Then I can change the IP address based on my network infrastructure. I can add that IP to the my management interface. But right now, this is a VM firewall. Let me go inside that VM firewall, and as well as I'll give you the console. Okay, so this console, this in this tool, so in this scenario, what you have to do, it's a fresh VM firewall, right? So it doesn't have a console port. It's having only management port only, right? So that need to be get a IP address from your DHCP server. So VM firewalls, most of the scenario, it will be deployed in a cloud-based concepts only, right? So cloud, they will assign the IP address automatically. Your management interface will get the IP address on your in this scenario. But here in our learning purpose, okay, so we are going to access the console by using this EVNG tool, right? So to access the console, which means now we are directly access. Let's assume just double click on this tool on this any of the device console you want to access. Just go to that device and just double click on it, and it will open the console. This is native console, like it's similar to, let me show you here. It's similar to just we are connecting CLI console with your console cable, rollover cable. It's similar to console cable, guys. Okay, it's a this tool feature, but in a real-time scenario, the cloud virtual machine firewalls will be deployed in a cloud, right? So they will get the IP address from your DHCP server, or else in your production network also, if you want to deploy it, you are going to deploy this VM virtual machine firewall in a VM tool only, right? So virtual operating system like ESXi, NSX, or VMware workstation, like that kind of tool you're going to use, or your bare metal also, your maybe you can deploy it as a bare metal. So in that case, definitely in your organization you will get a DHCP server. You will get the IP address from that DHCP server. After that, you can change after access the console by using that DHCP client IP address, right? So you can manage, you can change your IP address, everything you can do it, guys. So but here in our scenario, we don't have any DHCP server. So in a upcoming session, I'll show you to connect with the DHCP server as well, directly to connect with the DHCP server. Let me show you that as well if you want. So just add one node. This is my Palo Alto firewall, and I'm going to add my management PC here. Sorry, So my management PC, I'm going to connect with my physical LAN network where I have a DHCP server. My physical LAN router, wireless LAN router is a DHCP server right now. So I'm going to directly connect with physical LAN network. Okay, and just sorry, connect with the management interface. Choose your management interface here and start that. Okay. Now, meanwhile, this device I have deployed as a DHCP client. I'm going to deploy as a DHCP client, so it will start automatically get the IP address once it is successfully booted properly, and it will start to get the IP address from the DHCP server. So that we will come back later. So we'll, in case if you don't have a DHCP server, so if you're connected with a in your production network, right? So I mean in your lab setup, okay. So what you have to do, you have to access the direct console by double clicking that console. Let me access here, and now you can see it's heading to the my console login. What is the credential, guys? It is asking the credentials. Okay, right? What is the credential? So here in a GUI model, sorry, your VM firewall or hardware model, the credential are same. Username is the admin, password is admin, default credential. Okay, just make it username is admin and password is admin. Okay, right now we are in a, so now you can see it is asking you to change the password. So old password is admin. Just provide your new password. You need to match the password criteria. So a minimum 8 character you should provide. Okay. So now you can see I have changed the password, but still my CLI, you will get this warning message sometime. Okay. So I have changed the password, but still it is showing that the credential are using still default admin credential only it is using. So please change your password before deploy your product in a live environment. Okay, so it is showing that. So you can change that password later, or else you can change the password when you're accessing the GUI console. So that time it will again it will prompt you to change the password. So there we will change it once again, guys. Okay, so now I'm going to give you some introduction to this Palo Alto CLI. This is the Palo Alto CLI console, right? So right now I'm in, so if you are seeing this greater than symbol, right? So in a Cisco environment, Cisco CLI also have a different type of mode, right? So similarly, Palo Alto have a two different type of mode. If you are seeing this greater than symbol, right? So admin at PA, it's a host name, and greater than symbol. Right now I'm in a console. Okay, this is your Palo Alto CLI. Yes, if in a Cisco mode, if you are seeing this greater than symbol, that is called enable mode, right? Similarly, but here we are having a, in Cisco enable mode, privilege mode, and global configuration mode, like that we have a different modes, right? And an interface mode, right? So but here in Palo Alto we have a two type of mode. Palo Alto CLI have a two modes. Okay, one is operational mode. So right now we are in operation mode. So the greater than symbol, if you are in your console, if you are see the greater than symbol, then it is operational mode. So if you another mode is configuration mode. In your console, if you are seeing a hashtag symbol, then you are in a configuration mode or configure mode. Okay, configuration mode. Only these two modes only is there. So in an operational mode, you can execute only show commands and test commands. Okay, so where you are going to verify the existing configuration of your Palo Alto firewall. So just verify. You can use the ping trace route, right? And then you execute the show commands, and you can execute the test commands where you are going to verify your Palo Alto firewall existing configuration information. So where you want to get your Palo Alto firewall existing configuration information, right? So that you can execute on operational mode. Clear, guys. And if you want to do some changes, so this operation mode can, you are not in operation mode, you are not able to configure anything. You can just verify the commands, you can just verify the configuration by using this show commands and test commands, right? But configure, if you want to do some changes, right? So if you want to do some changes, then you need to enter into the configuration mode, and configuration mode only you are going to configure your any changes if you want to do it in your Palo Alto firewall. So like creating the policy, enabling the interfaces, right? And creating the object, whatever you are doing, changes on your Palo Alto firewall, that is comes under, you can do it on the configuration mode, guys. Okay, you can do it on the configuration mode only. So let me, okay, so now I'm in a which mode? Con I'm not in a configuration mode, I am in a operational mode. So just make it, just reminder, if you are seeing that greater than symbol, that is operational mode. So right now I'm in operational mode. So what I can able to execute, I can able to execute the show commands. Let me verify some, execute some show commands. So I just want to know what is the IP address of my management interface right now. So in, for that case, you can use this command. So interface management. So this is the command, one of the command to verify your management interface IP address in a CLI. Okay. So you can use another command as well, and you can see that after execute this command, show interface management, and then you can see management interface, IP address is unknown, minute mask is unknown, gateway is unknown, right? And we don't have any IPv6 assignment as well, right? So it is showing unknown because it's not having any IP address. Okay, so the same thing you can able to get in your another command to verify your management interface details. Okay, so let me use that command as well. So system info, system means your management activities. Okay, so now you can see again, you're getting your host name, and then whatever the operating system you are using it, everything is there. Okay, but you can see the IP address. Okay, let me, this is the command. Okay, I'll show you the command after enable it. So it's not able to maximize the size. Is it visible now? Okay, fine, Deepak. Okay, so no issues. We once we are, we'll connect with the management PC. I'll show you the console through tel SSH. Okay, so in a better way. So now you can use execute the command. So system info also is the command to verify your management interface detail. So there you can able to see your, let me show you here. You can see that IP assignment as a DHCP. Sixth line, you can able to see that IP assignment as a DHCP. I'm not able to highlight right now. So when I zoom this image, so it will not able to, I mean, I'm not able to highlight here. Okay, so okay, so you can see IP assignment mode, it's a DHCP. Okay, so so that it is not able to, it is waiting for the DHCP server IP assignment, but we don't have in our lab topology, we don't have a DHCP server, so we'll not able to get any IP address. So what you have to do, you have to change the IP address as per your management interface, right? So to change the IP address, you have you have to do changing the IP address to your management interface, your, which means you are doing some configuration, right? You are doing some changes in your Palo Alto firewall. So if you are going to do some changes on your Palo Alto firewall, that you can do it on which mode? Am I able to do it on operation mode? Okay, let me and try with that set. Okay, so you have to for that you have to use the device config is the command to do some changes on your management interface. Okay, but I'm not getting any help on that. I'm not able to access because in a operational mode you will not able to do any changes, guys. Okay, in a operation mode you will not able to do any changes. So if you want to do some changes on your Palo Alto firewall configuration, you need to enter into the configuration mode. So to enter into the configuration mode, you have to use the keyword called configure. That's it. Okay, just use configure to enter into the configuration mode, and you can see that entering in configuration mode. Now you can see the symbol is changed from greater than symbol to hashtag, right? So it is changed hash symbol. So which means we are, and along with that, you can see that edit option. So edit means you can configure anything, you can modify or you can configure. So in a operation mode, I don't have edit option. So which means I'm not able to configure anything. I'm not able to configure anything, but I can able to execute only show and test commands. Okay. But configuration mode, I can able to configure more existing configuration. I can able to modify, right? Everything I can able to do it, guys. So now our concern is we need to verify the management. I mean, we need to assign the IP address for your management interface. Okay. And before that, sorry, I forget one thing. So I told you, right? So there is a three default services are enabled on your management interface by default, right? So let me exit from the configuration mode and enter into the operation mode. So let me verify show commands. I just want to know what are the services are enabled on my management interface, management services, administrative services, right? To access the consoles. So system, for that you can use that command. So systems services is the command to verify the enabled in services detail on your management interface. You can see that HTTP is disabled, HTTPS is enabled, telnet is disabled, SSH is enabled, ping is enabled, and SNMP protocol is disabled, right? So I told you, right? Only three management services are enabled on this your interface management interfaces. So that is for checking the reachability by using ping protocol, and so ping services, and by using HTTPS and telnet, sorry, SSH, you can access the GUI console and CLI console, right? So you can see we are not changing anything else up to now under the system services, right? So it's a by default configuration. Only these three services are enabled in your management interface. So your management interface will receive the traffic if you are initiating the traffic through HTTPS, or if you are initiating the traffic through SSH, and if you are initiating the traffic as a ping service. So these three type of traffic only it will accept by default. So if you want to access the console through telnet to configure your Palo Alto firewall or through HTTP, you need to enable it, guys. Okay. So for that and all, first we will assign the IP address statically on your management interface. Then we will change the administrative services through CLI or GUI both. Okay. We'll do it, guys. Okay. Fine. Let me go to configuration mode. So now I'm in a configuration mode. So in case the your operation mode command, if you want to execute in a configuration mode, right? So like in a Cisco, you'll execute the privileges mode command in a global configuration mode, right? So by using a do keyword. Similarly, if you want to execute the show command and test command, which is belongs to operational mode, right? So that commands you want to execute in your configuration mode, you have to use the keyword called run, not do. You have to, before the command that show commands, you need to use the keyword called run. So system info, I'm going to execute to verify my management interface details, and you can see still it is assigned as a DHCP client, right? DHCP, IP is unknown. Similarly, run show system, sorry, interface management is the command to verify and your management interface IP address detail. The another command you can to verify your management interface. So right now I'm in a configuration mode, but I'm executing the operation mode command from inside the configuration mode by using the run keyword in front of your show commands, operation mode commands. You need to use the run keyword to execute the operation mode commands from your configuration mode. Okay, clear guys? So now I'm going to do some changes on my interface. So for that, you have to use the keyword, whatever the changes you are doing, right? So for that, you have to use the keyword set value. Okay, I'm going to do some configuration, set device config. I'm going to configure my device wise configuration. Okay, set device config and device wise configuration, what you are doing. So I'm going to do either you're going to configure the policy or whether you're going to configure your interface, management interface configuration, you're going to do it. I'm going to configure my management interface, right? So set device config system. Okay. System means my management interface. Okay. IP address is the command. You can either you can use IPv6 or IPv4. We are going to use IPv4. So IPv4, you just give a command IP address. Is it visible, guys? I hope is it visible to everyone. So set device config system IP address. Okay. And then you have to define what is your IP. Okay, so set device config system IP address and let me mention your IP that so as per our management interface, as per the topology 10.0.0.10 I'm going to assign. After that, you have to assign the subnet mask, right? So subnet mask, to assign the subnet mask, you have to give the keyword net mask, not subnet mask. Okay, net mask. Then you have to define your subnet mask. This is a /24 network, so I'm going to assign 255.255.255.0. Okay, and this is the command to assign the IP address, guys. Okay, so along with that, if you want to assign the gateway, you can just complete this command. Okay, then if you complete this command, it will set the IP address for your management interface. That's it, but it will not set the default gateway and DNS server IP and all. Okay, so if you want to get assign the if you want to assign the IP address for your default gateway, you can use the same command, set device config system default gateway. Okay, default gateway to this is the command to assign the default gateway IP address. Okay, so set device config system default gateway. Now you can assign the IP address. So I'm going to make it 10.0.0.100, which is my management PC right now. I just want to assign the default gateway as my management PC right now. Fine, I'm not going to communicate with any other network right now. Okay, so that's fine for you to show you to you how to assign the default gateway IP address. For that purpose only, I'm using this command right now, guys. Okay, set device config system default gateway. Okay, and that's it. So now I have assigned the IP address and I have assigned the default gateway. Okay, by using the same you can separately I have assigned both IP address and gateway, and you can also assign the IP address and gateway IP with a single command itself, like along with DNS server. So now I'm going to show you the command to set the IP address for the DNS server IP address. Okay, set device config. So because we are doing an on your management interface, we are doing all this configuration. Okay, so IP assignment we are doing it, and default gateway we are doing it, and DNS server we are going to do it. Okay, set device config system DNS settings. You have to use DNS settings to assign the IP address, DNS settings. And after that, if you want to know what is the next command, then you can just give a question mark. So what is the next command? You will get a help. You can use the question mark and you can use the tab key for the helps. Okay. So set device config system DNS settings. I'm going to assign the DNS server IP address. So just mention servers and then After that, you have to define what is you can in a Windows machine you can assign the two DNS servers IP address, right? So primary DNS server, secondary DNS server, right? So like that in Palo Alto also you can assign that. So you have to define which is the primary, which is the secondary. Okay, so servers, after that you have to define the primary, and so the primary is the command to define the IP address for the primary DNS server. So primary DNS server, I don't have right now, I don't have any DNS server in my production network, so in my topology. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use global DNS server as a primary DNS server, Google DNS server. So 8.8.8.8. And if you want to set the secondary server IP address, then you have to use secondary. You can just leave it with the primary itself. Okay. Or else if you want to assign the secondary, then additionally you can go secondary and then just define the IP address 4.2.2.2. Okay. That's it, guys. Okay. So now, so what we did, we assign the IP address for your management interface, and we assign the default gateway for your management network, and we assign the DNS servers, primary and secondary DNS servers for your management network, right? So all this thing we did separately, right? So by using three commands, the same thing you can use by only single command you can able to configure that. Okay, so what is the command for that? Set device config system IP address, and just define what is your IP address 10.0.0.10, and then subnet mask to define net mask, and subnet mask value is /24 255.255.255.0, and then default gateway. Okay, so just no need to give again set device config default gateway like that. You do the same command is enough. You can just mention what is the next thing you are going to configure, default gateway or your DNS server, that you can just mention it. Default gateway, I'm going to mention as my management PC IP, and then DNS server settings. So DNS settings, and then what is the server, primary or secondary? Okay, so just mention the primary, sorry, DNS settings, servers, and then primary. And what is your primary server IP address? 8.8.8.8.8, and secondary, okay, 4.2.2.2.2. Okay, so what we previously we did separately in a three separate commands, the same thing we did in an individual single command. Okay, so that's it, guys. So this is the command to assign the IP address for your management interface, assign the default gateway for your management interface, and the DNS settings to assign the DNS IP addresses in your management network. Okay, so this is a single command is enough. So now I have assigned that IP address, right? So let me again verify my management interface, whether that IP is getting assigned or not, right? So for that you have to use, you need to verify the show commands, right? So right now I'm in a configuration mode. So how can I execute the show commands? So which is belongs to operation mode, guys, right? So from configuration mode, how can I assign the IP address of your operation mode? Okay, so so now go to here, use the run keyword, right? Run so system management. Sorry, system info is the command to verify your management detail, or first we'll use so interface management. So interface management command to verify your management interface IP address assignment. You can see that interface is still it is showing unknown. Still it is showing unknown. What is the reason? So let me verify another command, run so system info. This is the command. Okay, now you can see still it is having a DHCP. It's not having any IP addresses, right? So why? Whatever the changes you're doing in a Palo Alto, it's not like a Cisco, guys. So whatever you're doing it, right? So in Cisco, that will be directly updated on your current running configuration in your Cisco device. But here, whatever the changes in you're doing in your Palo Alto firewall, that will not be uh, updated automatically. I mean, that will not take any action. So you have to save the changes manually. Okay. So you have to use commit, whatever you are configuring, right? So that will be saved automatically in your local storage of your Palo Alto firewall, but the action will not be taken until unless you are going to commit. So you have to commit the changes. You have to accept your changes, whatever the changes you have done, the changes you need to commit, then only the changes will be updated. So for that, yes, exactly, Deepak. Okay, so for that, you have to use the command called commit. So whatever the changes you have done, that will be saved. After that, once the commit is successfully completed, then only the changes will be updated. So now, guys, after this commit, the changes will be updated or not, guys? So as per the rule, as per the working principle of your Palo Alto, once the changes is committed, that need to be updated. So now the IP will be reflect or not? IP changes will be reflected or not, guys? Any idea? The changes are saved, right? So let me, once it is committed, where we will verify that. Okay. So what is the command to verify your management interface details? So right now I'm in a configuration mode, so I'm going to use the run. So system info. It is updated. Is it update? You can see that IP is still it is showing unknown. What is the reason, guys? It will not update. The reason, still IP assignment mode we it is there in as a DHCP client. So in a Windows machine, you can't able to assign the IP address directly once from the DHCP client. You can't able to assign the static IP address, right? So you have to change the IP assignment mode as a static. Then only you can get a console to assign the IP address, right? Similarly, so right now your Palo Alto your management interface is configured as a DHCP client. So until unless you are changing that, the changes, whatever the changes you have done, that is updated, that is saved. Okay, whatever the commit you have done, that is saved, but it will not reflect until unless you are changing the IP assignment mode from DHCP to static. Okay, so then only it will be updated. Whatever the changes you have done, that will be updated in your management interface, guys. So to change the mode, you have to use the following command: set device config system type type, and you can define what is the IP assignment mode, DHCP client or static. Okay, DHCP client static IP assignment mode. So I'm going to assign the static IP assignment mode. So already I have assigned the IP address on my Palo Alto my management interface. So that interface, once I have changed this IP assignment mode, that IP address, whatever we did previously, that will be applied in your management interface, guys. So this changes also need to be taken, right? So we need to commit, then it will be updated your IP address, guys. Okay. Okay, fine. So now just verify the configurations, run. So system info. Now you can see IP is updated. IP address 10.10 and netmask is /24. Default gateway is 10.100 and IP assignment mode is static, right? So whatever the changes you have done, that is updated now. Clear, guys? So just configuring whatever you're just configuring, right? So that is not enough to take. If you want to take action in a live production network, you need to commit whatever the changes you have done, that need to be committed. Then only the firewall will take action based on your configuration. Okay. So now we are we have assigned the IP address for your management interface, right? So the same IP assignment. So we have only this is we are Manish, we are just configuring the IP address on your management plane. So the data plane that interface configuration is different in Palo Alto firewall. Okay, so that will be taken care by the data plane unit, and we have only one management interface only in a control plane unit. So whatever the IP you have done, that will be changed in your whatever the IP assignment, whatever the things you have done, that will be changed in your management interface only, not your all data interfaces. That is separately maintained. Okay, it will not change your any other data interfaces. Let me show you that. Because your data interface right now, all your data interfaces are just deployed as a just an Ethernet port. It is not defining as a L2, I mean layer 2 port or layer 3 port or any other mode of interface deployment. It is not yet defined so that it will not affect anything. Okay, and as well as it is maintained separate by the control data plane unit. So it is not going to affect whatever the changes you have done in your management interface with the data interfaces. Clear? So now we are going to we are assign the we have accessed the console of your CLA console, right? So now we have to access the GUI console. So to access the GUI console, you need to access from you need a web browser, because the GUI console can be accessed through HTTP or HTTPS console. Okay, but due to security reasons, Palo Alto will not allow the console access through GUI with the HTTP services, even though it is enabled. But you have to use to access the console through HTTPS only. Okay, so for that you need one browser, and with the operating system running with a browser, right? So I'm having a management PC here. In this management PC, I'm going to access the GUI console of my Palo Alto firewall, and this PC have the credential. There is no credential. Just I'm taking a RDP console of this machine management PC. Okay, and I have to assign the IP address from my management network for this machine, and then only I'll have a reachability between my Palo Alto firewall management interface to my management PC. Okay, so let me change that. IP config. So see, it's a PIPA IP address only. It's not yet assigned. So assign the IP address here. Just assign the IP address 10.0.0.100. I'm going to assign on this management PC, that is /24 network 255.255.0, and default gateway. If you want, you can provide. For my management PC, I'm going to provide default gateway as my Palo Alto firewall. Okay, because I don't have any apart from that, I don't have any external network to communicate. So just giving it, or else you can just leave it. Okay, 10.0.0.10, and DNS server. If you want, you can provide. It's not necessary for us. We are not going to access the internet right now. So or else you can make it 8.8.8 if you want. That's it. Just click OK. Now just verify your IP configuration. 10.0.100 IP is there. So now I'm going to check my reachability with my Palo Alto firewall from my management interface. So I'm going to use a ping command, ping 10.0.0.10 is my Palo Alto firewall management interface IP. So I'm going to check the reachability. Yes, I got the reply from my Palo Alto firewall. So which means I'm having a reachability between my Palo Alto firewall and my management interface. So now I can access the console of my Palo Alto firewall through CLI or GUI console, right? So I'm going to take a console of through first GUI console. Let me For that you need one browser, and try it with a HTTP 19 sorry what is your management interface IP address? 10.0.0.10, right? So am I able to access the console now? Guys, am I able to access the console now? Any idea? I'm using which protocol? I'm using HTTP protocol. By default, HTTP is not allowed to access, right? So what either you can use HTTP yes for CLI console or SSH for GUI console. Sorry, yeah, HTTPS for GUI console, SSH for CLI console. Okay, so now use HTTPS protocol to access your management interface. Now you can see it's taken HTTP only, I think so. See, now I got the reply from my Palo Alto firewall and it's error. I don't have a SSL certificate, proper SSL certificate when you're using HTTPS, so that it is giving a warning message. Fine, go to advanced and proceed to unsafe, and you can able to see I'm accessing the Palo Alto GUI console, guys. See, okay, graphical user interface. I am accessing the Palo Alto. So now it is asking the credential. What is the credential, guys? Username is the admin default credential, and what is the password? Admin is the default password. Let's get into the console, and it's showing. Let me change once again. Admin, admin. Once again, let's see what I it's showing invalid username or password, which means the password has been whatever the changes we have done in CLI that is updated. Let me change it now. Admin capital P at the rate. Whatever the password I have given in a CLI while change enter into the CLI very first time, right? It is asking me to change the password, right? So that password I'm going to provide here. Yes. So which means the password is successfully changed in a CLI itself. So which means I have given a right password, credentials. So whatever the password uh, criteria we have to provide like 8 characters minimum, and then it's combination of symbols and numerical things and uppercase, lowercase you have to provide that criteria, password criteria, guys. Okay. So right now we are in a Palo Alto firewall. Okay, so close it. So this is your Palo Alto firewall GUI console, guys. Okay, so whatever the command we have executed, so system info, that command, these are all the information you got it for that command. Okay, so this is a dashboard. I'll give you the overview of your Palo Alto GUI console dashboard, where you can able to get these some general information, system information, and user logged information, and administrator logged information, and configuration log, right? System log. So these kind of things you can able to see. These are all the widgets. So you can customize whether if you want this widgets, you can add it here, or you can uh, remove this here, guys. Okay, so the widgets, so a lot of widgets we have application wise, system wise, logs wise, so that we will see in upcoming session. Okay, I'll show you that. So today's session, it's about accessing the console through CLI and GUI, and just explore how the CLI console will be look like, and GUI console will be look like. Okay, and I told you, right? So there are two type of hardware resources. It's data plane and control plane. It's separately maintained data. You can see that data plane CPU is separate CPU we have, management plane CPU we have. Okay, so whatever the management traffic which we are initiating, like through accessing the GUI console or CLI console, whatever we are doing it right now, that is taken care by the management CPU. So but you can see data plane CPU, it's not utilized because there is no live traffic, okay, on your data traffic, on your data interfaces, so that CPU is not utilized. Okay, likewise the RAM, everything will be there in separate her hardware RAM units you have in your data plane and sub management plane, guys. Okay, so dashboard, you will get some information. It's for your system information or application, whatever the application widely used, whatever the threads it is identified, so that kind of information you can able to see under your dashboard, so that you can add these widgets. So application, top risk application, top application, likewise system, under interface details. So let me add interface here. You can see these are all the data interfaces. 8 data interfaces it is showing, right? It is not showing your it will not show your management interface. It will show only data interface details only. So all these 8 interfaces are right now, it's not configured anything. It's in a down state only. So that if it is an up state, here you can able to see the I mean, it is not, if it is showing as a gray color, that interfaces are not enabled properly. If it is showing a red color, that interface is in down state. If it is showing a green color, that interfaces are running properly. Okay, these information you can able to get here under this widgets, guys. Okay, likewise we have some of the widgets that we will explore in upcoming session. Okay, and the next menu bar, you have a ACC, application command and control. ACC means, okay, where you can able to see recently identified threats or recently blocked activities, right? So vulnerability, recently identify the virus, malware, any vulnerability, that information you can able to see it, guys, under ACC. Okay, and under monitor menu bar, and monitor console, you can able to see whatever the features you need your for logs, any, I mean, monitoring the logs, and your taking a report of your logs. So these activities you can able to do it here. So we'll do it one by one while doing all this kind of things in your Palo Alto firewall. Likewise, when you want to create the policy, you can go to the policy menu bar, and here security policy, NAT policy, QoS policy, like that. DDoS policy, SD-WAN policy. Okay, so your Palo Alto firewall, right? So you can able to configure all those stuffs here. Under PC NSE, there is as per the course curriculum, there is no whatever we have, everything will cover it. Okay, so fine. Uh, Next, if you want to create an object, like you can create an object IP address, subnet, right? So services, all are you can create as object. If you want to utilize the application control URL filter, that profiles you can create as an object here, and you can apply on your security policy. So everything you are going to do it under here. Okay, so that address, if you want to create address, you can just create address object, IP, subnet mask, IP pool, right? So net subnet or IP, individual IP address or IP pool. Likewise, you can create and you can add together as a group, and you can create application as well for the object. Okay, or you can create a service as well as an object. So we have, and you can create a security profiles like antivirus profile, application control, sorry, UTM features, other URL filter, file blocking, data leakage protection, all those things you will do it under here. You'll create as an object here, profile you are creating as a profile here in under object, then you will apply on your security policy. Okay, and then network, which is about the network related configuration, like interface configuration, routing related configuration, VPN related configuration, everything comes under the network. And device, which is about the management entirely, your Palo Alto firewall management, like assigning the IP address to your management interface. Just go to device, setup, interface, whatever the IP assignment we have done. So this is your management interface. Just select management, and you can see the whatever the IP you have assigned, that is updated. And likewise, whatever the I told you, right? There are three predefined services are enabled for your management interface: HTTPS, SSH, ping. These three services only is enabled. So rest of the services, it's by default disabled. If you want, you can enable it in the CLA or GUI. So if you want to enable a telnet or HTTP, you can enable from here. Okay, if you want to disable SSH and enable telnet, then you can able to do it. Okay, from here itself. And after that, you have to save the changes. Okay, and I'm not changing anything else as of now. Just click OK. If after change, you can commit here, save the changes, you can commit here. Okay, so I'm not doing any changes as of now here. Actually, I have changed my dashboard only interface, so that will be committed. Just commit. Okay, whatever the changes you have done, that will be updated here after. So as a running configuration, guys. Okay, your firewall will take action based on this configuration. Okay, what is the time now? It's almost 9:30. Okay. Yes, default only HTTPS, SSH, and ping. Okay, so we'll see how to enable these administrative services on your management interface through CLI and GUI. GUI, it's very simple. You can just select and it will be enabled. Okay, but CLI, we'll see that, and we will take a console through Telnet or SSH. Okay, or okay, we'll take a console through Telnet from your management PC to your Paloalto firewall after enabling the services. So now SSH is enabled, right? So right now I'm in a management PC, right? I'm not going to access the console of my Paloalto firewall direct console. I'm going to access SSH from my management PC, guys. Right now I'm in a management PC. So what is your Paloalto firewall management interface IP address? That is 192.168. Sorry, 10.10. You should 10.10. Okay, what is the protocol I'm going to access to through CLI console? I'm going to access SSH because that is only by default enabled, right? So SSH, and just to open, and now you can accept yes, and you can see it is asking the credential. Let me change that appearance. Just give me 10 minutes, guys. We'll close the session. So after enable the services through CLI, okay, and boot. Okay, so now now I hope it's visible to everyone. Okay, right now I'm going to take a SSH of my from my management PC. I'm going to take a SSH console. So actually this refused. Okay, okay. Now I have taken. So it is asking the credential user. What is the username, guys? Username is the admin. What is the password? Password is whatever the password you have changed. That is. And now you can see I'm able to log in with my Palo Alto firewall. Right now I'm in a Palo Alto firewall admin. I mean, right now in a which mode? I'm in a operational mode with the Palo Alto firewall, right? So now I want to and I want to enable some other services. I just want to disable SSH. I just want to enable Telnet. Okay. So right now, take one more. So right now I'm going to enable HTTP services, and then I'm going to enable Telnet services from your Palo Alto firewall CLI console through SSH. So right now it is not possible in a operation mode. You have to enter into the configuration mode. So just go to configuration mode, and now to change that services, right? So to enable your Telnet services or disable your SSH services, right? So what you have to do? You have to follow this command set device config system service is the command service. Okay, and what kind of service you are going to enable, or what you are going to enable or disable. Okay, so I'm going to enable telnet right now. Okay, so to enable telnet, right, you have to use the keyword disable. And what is the service? Telnet. And just give the command no or yes. If you give a command no, then your telnet will be enabled because the telnet is already disabled. Your command says if you give a no, device config system service disable telnet no. Disable telnet no means I'm going to activate the telnet. Okay, if you want to uh, disable your HTTP or HTTP SSH console, then you have to provide disable SSH. Yes, yes means that will be disabled. No means that will be enabled. Okay, the command you have to use disable telnet no to activate. To activate any services on your management interface, you have to say no. Disable so and so service, no. To disable, if you want to disable your any existing running services, then you have to say disable so and so service, yes. Okay, right now I'm going to enable my telnet services, so that I have given command set device config system services disable telnet no. Okay, so I'm not going to commit as of now. So let me execute the available verify the my enabled services on your management interface. So what is the command for that? Run so system services. And you can see right now HTTP is disabled, telnet is disabled, right? Now I want to, I just enable that command, but it is not yet updated, right? Because we are not yet committed. So likewise, I'm going to disable my SSH console. Okay. So SSH is enabled, right? So let me use that command set device config disable SSH. Yes, I'm going to disable it. Okay. And just do commit. Let's see what will happen. Once it is successfully committed, your SSL service will be refused, because if your SSL is disabled, the Paloalto firewall will not accept the SSL traffic. So once it is successfully committed, your SSH existing SSH console will be refused. And meanwhile, if you go to your, once it is committed, if you go to the CL GUI console, now go to device interface. Now you can see telnet is enabled, HTTPS is enabled, your SSH is disabled, right? So let me click OK. Now go to your SSH console again, right? Show run so system services. Okay, so your SSH is disabled, HTTP is disabled, telnet is now telnet is enabled. Previously telnet is disabled, now telnet is enabled. Previously SSH is enabled, now SSH is enabled, now SSH is disabled, right? Clear, guys? So now this is, the session is, if this is your existing session, now try to take a new session, your SSH, let's see what will happen. Exit and exit. Now try to take SSH on your Palo Alto firewall from your management PC, 10.0.0.10 and SSH port number 22. Just click OK. Let's see what will happen. I'm not getting any reply because your Palo Alto firewall will not accept. See, the connection is refused. Okay, so the Palo Alto firewall will not accept SSH traffic, but right now Palo Alto firewall will accept the telnet traffic, right? So let me initiate, not new session, and telnet 192.16. Sorry, again, usually I'm use that IP address only, so that I'm getting confused. So 10.10. Okay. I have used SSL, sorry, H telnet protocol only, port number 23 I have used. Just click OK. Okay. It will accept that traffic. right? 10.0.0.10 telnet port number 23. That's fine. Just click OK. Okay, I think right now I'm in a console mode, right? So just to commit here. So let me go to here. There's no changes. Do you have any CLI, existing CLI console access you have? Go to your management PC. Ten dot zero dot zero dot 10. Okay, it is refusing by your Paloalto firewall. Let me. Your device is malfunctioning, but it's supposed to allow us telnet services. Okay, so we'll do this. Run so system services. Okay, let me so set device config system service disable SSH. No, just do commit. The same way, sometimes if you are disable your security, all secure protocol for a management activities, secure protocol, if you disable it, right? So non-securable protocols are, it's a non-standard. So it's after your device is getting registered, after getting your full licensed, it will allow your SSH console and sorry, telnet console and all. Okay, sometimes the HTTP, how even though if you enable HTTP and you will not able to access it, it will be refused by your Palo Alto firewall. Okay, so let me. So the same way, telnet is a non-secure protocol, so it's still the device is non-registered. So it's there are some limitation here in this console access. Okay, so let me right now I have enabled the SSH console. Let me see whether it is possible now. Okay, so since it's a non-securable protocol, your devices refuse this connection, but it will allow this. Okay, so HTTP, yes, that will not, it will not work. HTTP in a production, it will not. Right now I'm using HTTPS only. Okay, let me enable HTTP and I'll show you whether it is refused or not. That you can able to see that. Okay, so here the same way we'll enable HTTP, right? So disable service HTTP no to enable, and HTTP yes. Yes, I'm going to enable. So I enable HTTPS. Sorry, I disable HTTPS and I enable HTTP for a GUI console access. Once it is committed, let's see what will happen. Okay, now go to your device, management, right? HTTPS is disabled. Now you can see HTTP is disabled, right? So once successfully committed, and log out from the HTTPS console and try to with a login with a HTTP console. Let's see. It will not create a session for you. It will be refused. Okay, committed, and you can see I'm using HTTPS protocol to access the console previously, right? So let me log out here, and that is, let me log out, and then this time tried with HTTPS is disabled. So I'm going to try it with the first. Let me try with the HTTPS first. Okay. So it's still it is showing as it's using a lock. Let me use this one. Okay, first go with the HTTP 10.0.0.10. You can see getting the login page. Right now I'm using HTTP protocol only, right? I'm not using HTTPS. So let me go inside here, admin, and now I'm logged in, right? I'm creating a session for the administrative. Okay, so usually I'll get this error. HTTP will be refused, but this device is doing some malfunctioning here as per the thing. So sometimes it will refuse that connection. Let me try with the same thing. Log out here. So sometimes it will take time. Let me log out. Try with some other browser. Okay. So might be use catchy. Sometimes it will throw the error like connection will be refused. So and we have disabled HTTPS, right? So let me go to here. Just my guys. First, we have disabled HTTPS, right? So let me try with the HTTP yes first. HTTPS 10.10. Now previously HTTPS is allowed So the action, whatever the changes you have done, so that is taking some times to update. Okay, so now HTTPS is not accessible, right? And now let me try with the HTTP. We are getting console the same way. Then we will try with the telnet. So admin, you can see have been logged out security reason. So this error will throw it. Okay. Okay, guys, I told you, right? So HTTP, now we got the console through HTTP, but this error, your login session has expired. You have been logged out, the security reason, because your Palo Alto firewall will not allow to access the console through HTTP. Okay, so due to security reason, so it will, you have to again and again you have to log in. It will not allow to provide the console. This error will throw you guys. Okay, because even though it's HTTP is allowed, so not like that. It is total. It will reflect suddenly. Okay, so it's not take that much time. So this is a VM device. Okay, so sometimes you'll get this error and some. It's right now these devices are not registered properly. Okay, so it will through some time of this kind of error. It will through you guys. Okay, so but in a production network, it will be updated as soon as the commit is completed. 100% commit is completed. It will be updated automatically. Okay, the same way. Okay, now previously we got the same error for the HTTP, right? So now we got the console. Okay. So, but the thing is, in a real-time production network, it will won't allow you to take a console access through HTTP. Okay. So clear. The same way, telnet, it's a since by default it is disabled, we are not able to access it. But if you are manually enable it and if you register successfully, all the services you can able to access it properly. But in for HTTP, it's not, since it's a not recommendable, it will throw the same error, and after you can proceed if you want. Okay, sometimes it will give you the console, sometimes it will okay. So yeah, that's it today, guys. So yeah, so you can leave and you can okay, that's all about the demos. So sorry for the long session. Okay, so do you have any queries, guys, regarding this today's session? So let me summarize what we did. Yeah, I'll share the videos today. So I'll upload it in our YouTube channel. You will get the videos around 12 o'clock. Okay. So guys, your live batch is going to start on 6th September. Okay. So let me, so your live batch is going to start on 6th September, and you can take this course for Fine Firewall Combo for 20,000 rupees itself, and you for as a 3 installment. And we have additional we have one more offer. So if you are ready to make your payment as a single payment, so this offer we given for the freedom sale. Okay, so as per the you uh, user, I mean students request, we have extended up to 3rd September. Okay, that I have mentioned already in a yesterday's session. So that is, you can take this 5-in-1 firewall combo for 15,000 rupees itself if you are ready to make your payment is a single payment. Okay, so you will get additional 5,000 offer, and along with, apart from the cost, the validity of this course, you can get 2 years additionally. So in this 2 years, after this course completion, let you can complete within 4 to 5 months. Okay, all these 5 products. So this is only for those who want to take a 5-in-1 firewall combo. For them, this offer. Okay, so you will get 2 years validity. Actually, we will give a 1 year validity for this course. So you can take a number of retake. You can take if you want to join the live batch for any of these 5 firewalls, you can take it for in this 2 years. Okay, you have 2 years validity. So in this 2 years, you can take all this 5-in-1 firewall combo 5 products anytime, a number of attempts you can do it, guys. Okay, this is the additional offer apart from the 5,000 offer in the cost. You will get 1 year additional validity, one more year. So you can take anytime these 5 firewall products, okay, without paying anything. So sometimes the vendor maybe upgrade the operating system or upgrade the any their uh, exam perspective, right? They upgrade their syllabuses. In that case, if you want to take up to date, you want to be have knowledge on these products and up to date, you can utilize this course, this duration. Okay, you can do it for your any time, n number of times in this 2 years validity, guys. Okay, so if you want, you can utilize it, and this offer only up to valid September 3, and we will complete. We'll close the admission process for September 5th onwards. Okay, we'll sorry for yes 5th, September 5th. The admission process will be completed for these badge. Okay, so Palo Alto either you can join for only Palo Alto, or either you can join for the 5-in-1 Firewall Combo. If you are join the 5-in-1 Firewall Combo, your course flow will be Palo Alto first, and then Checkpoint, and then Cisco ASA and Cisco FTD. Then we'll go with the FortiGate firewall in this timing, morning timing, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. guys. Okay, so any queries apart from this? September 6th. Yes, September 6th, it is going to start debug. Palo Alto. Okay. So for admission process, you can just contact us. So let me, this below number you can contact. Okay. Let me have shared my number. Okay. So do you have any doubt if you have any doubts, you can ask me, you can call me on this number. Okay. You can ask me, and I'll share the course curriculum documents in your WhatsApp group for your reference, guys. You can just go through it. Okay, so let me write here as well. Any doubts, guys, apart from this today's session? Any doubts? You can contact this number regarding the payment and payment link. Okay, you can contact this number as well. Okay, so no, there is no doubt. Fine. Okay, guys. So that's it today. We'll meet on a live session. Thank you, guys. Sorry for the late. Thank you. Yeah, Deepak, please ping me on my WhatsApp for the admission process. Yeah, I'll share the link. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Nali. Thank you, guys. Thank you for everyone. Bye bye. Take care. Thank you for your Deepak. Thank you for your wonderful feedback. Thank you so much. And thank you, guys. Take care. Bye bye.